Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope everything is good and great and wonderful. If you missed yesterday's episode, I'm in the middle of, I'm actually right in the middle now, of a 4-day project management course designed to help me pass the PMI Project Management Institute's Project Management Professional Certification Exam. It is a standardized exam of 200 questions, meaning that those 200 questions, it gives you 4 correct answers, and you have to pick the most correct. And I hate that kind of exam. And the reason that I'm doing this is I'm trying to advance my career, obviously, and my work has suggested this as a possible path. And I said, yes, absolutely. I love schedules and plans and programs, and I would love to be the person doing that. So I took up this course. What I didn't realize was just how consuming this is. I guess I should have guessed, because part of taking the project management professional certification is you have to prove that you are a project manager. Well, that's not true. You have to prove that you have managed projects. You have to prove, for me, I have an associate's degree, so I have to prove 50 months, 60 months, 60 months of project management experience. That's 5 years. 5 years I have to prove. Now, I am going to be 42 in February. I got my first job as a paper boy when I was like 12, I think. So I've been in the workforce. Okay, let's cut the paperboy shit. Let's just say I joined the Marine Corps in 97. I was 18, and so I've been in the workforce for 24 years. Through my time in the Marines, my time working at a car dealership, managing a parts department, I went from there to being a mechanic. And I would say those 4 years of my life, or 5 years of my life that I was a professional mechanic, would be the time that I did the least amount of projects. I could argue that being a mechanic is managing a project, and it is. There are, especially when you have multiple vehicles that you're working on simultaneously, because I look at this customer's vehicle and it needs the engine torn down and rebuilt. In order to do that, I have to order parts. So I've got this engine partially torn down and disassembled because I need to inspect it and figure out what I need to order, and then I go order. Then I push that car outside and I bring in another vehicle to start to work on it, and it needs something big and I have to order parts, so I push it outside. So I'm juggling multiple projects. I could argue that that is project management, but whatever. And then from there I worked in private sector for a year. I managed a computer store. So I managed not only the store itself, I also managed opening the store, the planning and prep and all that sort of stuff. And then I did 8 years in K-12 as an IT guy. I would say that I managed 8 years of my life that was project management. I was basically on my own to figure out what I needed to do to accomplish tasks, right? So, and then now the last 3 years I've been working for my company. I've been basically self-managed on all of my projects. So I can argue all day long. I could show you projects that I've done, as a project manager, I was the person who conceived, designed, executed, I managed these projects. The difference is very few of those projects involved other people. Now, arguably, all of those projects involved a lot of people, because, as I have learned, there is a thing called a stakeholder, and a stakeholder is anybody that the project affects. And I could argue that some of my projects affected thousands. Some of my projects affected hundreds. Some of my projects affected tens. Some of my projects affected 6 people. But that means that there were other people involved in the project, right? There were expectations in there, All of this is to say, I should have known when I saw that this was going to be something quite intrusive in my life. And my new team lead suggested that we take this class now. Like, I was going to wait until January, and she said, no, let's do it right now. And I said, okay. And I think that this is literally going to be my entire December, and probably a good part of my January, is studying, practice test, study, practice test, study, practice test. Because it is that big of an exam, and it is that difficult of an exam. So, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about for the next 3 weeks. I guess this is kind of a warning. Like, my head is going to be stuck in project management land for quite some time until I can pass this test. First, I have to get approved for the test. First, I have to write that application that says, I did this, I have this experience, I have provable 60 months worth of experience on projects. Once I've done that, and I get approved to take the test, then it's a matter of taking the test and passing the test, because it's $500 to take the test. This is a big ordeal. I didn't realize that. It's a lot. Today we actually covered, yesterday I would say very little was learned yesterday. Yesterday was more or less like, here are the terms that you'll be tested on, and here's where to find those in the material. Go study. Today we actually, the instructor taught us a good bit about some of the concepts, and it was much more engaging and interesting because of that. So hopefully that's how it goes for the rest of the week. And then I guess I'm on self-study time for the rest of the month. Should be interesting, at least. And if nothing else, if I can pull this off and I can pass this test, that's huge. It's a huge deal on a resume, right? It's one of those things. So, that's what I have for you today. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really, really, really appreciate you. Appreciate all the encouragement, too. Thank you. I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is disabuse. It is a verb meaning to free oneself or someone else from an incorrect assumption or belief. We had to disabuse Lorianne from her belief that her family connections would immediately make her a member of our group. Disabuse. D-I-S-A-B-U-S-E. I would like to say, I would like to free myself from the idea that I can't pass this test. I would like to disabuse myself of that.